Welcome. This is our Afterthoughts segment where we stick around for a little more conversation with our guests. We keep them on for some more extended and candid conversation that's only seen on the web. With us today, we're talking about the creative economy in Maine. And with us today are Skip Bates of Bangor Savings Bank. He's also the chair of Midcoast Magnet and the Juice Conference. John Roman, WBRC Architects and Engineers. He is chair of the Maine Arts Commission. And Amber Hefner of the Little Harbor Technology located in Rockland. Thank you for sticking around. We had a good session, but as you know, it goes like quick, and we can only cover so many things. So good. Let's get into the good stuff now. Now we can tell the truth, because it's only on the World Wide Web. Don't worry about that. Nobody's watching. The thing I guess I wanted to spend a little more time on was that kind of the definitional piece, because I know that, I really remember the commission. It's such a struggle to try to figure out what do we call this thing, and then the question is, does it really matter how we define it specifically? But give us more examples of. I know that technology is one. You're a good example of one. And I know the arts are. Mm-hmm. But what else? Who are these people? And do they create real, sustainable, year-round jobs?
I'll kind of jump on it, Alan. You know, where we've got such a fantastic state that we live in, and we capitalize on all of our natural resources, our arts and culture, our downtown area. Those are the reasons that groups like our boat building industry. I mean, our boat building industry would not be here without the creative folks that we've got and the coastline that we've got and their ability to sail, up and down, Maine's coastline. That's why they're here. Folks like the Stonewall Kitchen folks, Ray's Mustard, they're here because of quality of life, and those are all creative economy businesses.
I remember when Richard Florida was talking, and he was saying that it's not that we're developing whole new products. The boat industry, boat building is a great idea. We've been doing it for a few hundred years here. However, it's the way we do it. It's the design that we bring to it. It's all of that new creative energy that takes it to another level, I think.
Banker.
Yeah.
I always think about creativity, and I think about risk. If you're an artist, what you're essentially doing is you're taking a risk to create something new. And maybe it's art for art's sake, and it's a pure form of art. But for any art form, there are also spin-off jobs. The multiplier effect of our arts sector is very important. For the Juice Conference, we have two performers, two dancers who will be doing performances during the 2 days of the conference. And you think about it as a dancer is a job, but then you think there's a lighting guy, a sound guy, there's a stagehand, there's a technical director, and the multiplier effect is just tremendous. So there's the art piece and the risk that somebody takes with creating some new form of creativity there. But then in business, too, nothing happens until somebody takes a risk. And developing a new business is all about creativity.
But also nothing happens in business until somebody puts up some capital. I want to talk about that and with this too. This is great, we got a banker here, we can ask you about it. I mean, is the capital available for these creative entrepreneurs, for these new ventures? Man, they're kind of risky. Are people in your business and others that you work with in the Midcoast Magnet Group, are they able to find the money they need to really come here and get started?
Well, we have a really exciting opportunity at Juice in that we're giving...
See how I set you guys up?
Skip found an anonymous donor for a $30,000 investment in a Maine entrepreneur. And that is turning into a perfect pitch segment at the conference, which is generating a ton of excitement. And it's going to be so much fun. And from the immediate press release, Skip's fielding tons of phone calls and questions of how do I do this? And they'll get a unique opportunity to submit a one-page plan of what they're pitching, be selected, come and present this one-on-one with one of 4 banking and investment professionals, get selected by those 4 individuals for a second afternoon pitch session that is more open. They pitch in front of all 4 people and potentially an audience to then be selected personally by this group to go on to an investment dinner that night, with a top winner getting a $25,000 investment from MidMag into their business, and then the 2 runners-up getting $2,500 each. It's a really fabulous opportunity for...
And that's the part I know that in the conversations all along, as this has been evolving in the different regional groups working on creative economy stuff, and at the state level too, it's like, that's the part that seemed to be missing too. How do we capitalize this thing? It's like any other business. If we want them here, we can attract them, we can create the amenities, we can create the environment, we've got the other natural stuff, but how do we make sure they can stay in business? Go ahead.
For this pitch session, we're collaborating with the Small Enterprise Growth Fund, which is a Maine-based venture capital organization. And it's a $9 million fund. And if you talk to some of the board members on the Small Enterprise Growth Board, you might hear two things. One, that there aren't a lot of investable opportunities in Maine. But then if you turn around and you talk to some of the entrepreneurs in the state,
There's venture money
they'll turn around and say, there's not enough venture capital. Right? So we're trying to bring both of those parties to the table. It's kind of a conundrum. There are really creative businesses in the state, and there is venture capital available, as well as traditional bank finance and SBA support and many other vehicles that entrepreneurs need to launch their companies.
Well, that's another question I have. And you'd be good. I mean, you've been in business, or a businessman for a long time, and in creative business as well, and very much a part of that. Do creative entrepreneurs, do they understand business? I know they know their art, they know their passion, I know they know their design. They know how to make a bottom line.
There's been a real evolution, even with these folks that are involved in the arts and culture side. And I think in terms of Maine Crafts Association, a group of a number of single individuals who, frankly, probably don't have a lot of those skills that they're bringing to the table. But when they collaborate and when they bring all those folks to the table under one umbrella, then Maine Crafts becomes something that's viable. It's a bigger organization. It's on the Maine Turnpike at the brand new exit in Gardner with their sales opportunities. So I think they've become a lot more smart, a lot smarter in these areas.
Good.
Alan, just to add to that, sometimes there's a danger when you're thinking about what is the creative economy, that the creative economy gets associated with small business and individual entrepreneurs.
Right.
That is the case, and that's sort of the groundswell. But a cohesive economic development plan also needs big companies and scalable, investable companies. And so Maine does also have good. You take a company like Penn Bay Media in Camden, growing rapidly. They started off as 10 people or so 3 years ago. Now they're I think over 50 people. That's the kind of growth that we need.
But the Bangor situation, because clearly you're associated with downtown Bangor in many ways. How important is this to both to the creative economy to downtown Bangor and Bangor, the downtown, to creative economy?
Yeah, I'll have to put my old city council hat on for a minute. When we, in right around 2000, we made a determination that if we were going to turn the downtown around, and from a city councilor standpoint, maybe even more importantly, turn the assessed value of the properties downtown, we really had to do something different. We had a vacancy rate on the second and third floors of around 75%. We brought that's when we brought the University of Maine Museum of Art. That's when we brought the Children's Museum. That's when the city stepped up and actually took over the ownership of a couple buildings and brought in Epic Sports and those kinds of things. It really turned the downtown around. So my office is downtown, and I've got about 75 people in our office in 3 different locations now. We've got folks from Switzerland, from Spain, from all over the country that are here because of what they've seen in Maine, similar to Amber's story, what they've seen in Maine and what they've seen in downtown Bangor. So it's been very, very effective.
We're going to have to wrap, but I want to give you one final opportunity. Policymakers actually do watch this show, believe it or not. I make them. What do you want to tell the folks in Augusta? Is the creative economy getting the support it needs?
I think that it's important for our legislators and for, in particular, our future governor to think about what the future of the economy looks like and to listen to our business community. With that in mind, at the Juice Conference, we will have a gubernatorial forum, and we have 10 of the registered candidates actually participating in that.